Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player 1. Player 2. Player 3. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Let's take you right now into the Jeopardy round. Clues are worth $200 to $1,000 in these categories. Monroe-puri. Where's that? The short form. The New Testament. Bloodsuckers. And the solar system.
Bloodsuckers for
Player 1, Shadow of the Vampire details the production of this 1922 F.W. Murnau film. Player 1,
What is the Phantom?
no, sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? We're talking about Nosferatu.
All right, Bloodsuckers for 400.
Player 1, the Coreys go after vampires in this 1987 film. Let's hear it, Player 1.
What is the Lost Boys?
Good. You've got some money again. You get to pick. In 2012, Kate Beckinsale returned as Celine in the 4th installment of this Vampire vs. Lycan series.
What is Underworld?
Player 1? Good.
Let's go,
Please. The one name they all fear was a tagline for this 2004 blockbuster that starred Hugh Jackman. Let's hear it, Player 1.
What is Van Helsing?
That's correct.
Bloodsuckers for 1,000.
You get to. In 2002, Aaliyah played this royal from Anne Rice's Vampire Menagerie. Okay, Player 1.
Who is Queen of the Dam?
That's correct. Player 1, choose again.
Monroe-puri for 200.
In 1948, she had one line in Love Happy, the last Marx Brothers movie.
Who is Marilyn Monroe?
It's Player 1. Good. Select. Forget DiMaggio and Berra. The secret to the Yankees' 11 pennants from 1947 to 1960 was Lucy Monroe's singing of this.
What is the Star-Spangled Banner?
It's Player 1. Right. You again. See Marion Monroe train as a child psychologist and co-write the book starring this unexciting boy-girl pair.
Who are Dick
Player
and
1?
Jane?
You got it.
Let's go Monroe-puri for 800.
Select. 1940s singing star Vaughn Monroe had a rich voice in this middle male range, hence the nickname Old Leather Tonsils.
What is baritone?
It's Player 1. That is correct.
Let's go Monroe-puri 1,000.
Player 1. In 1912, Harriet Monroe launched the magazine simply called This. It soon published T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound. It's Player 1.
What is Life?
That's not it. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? It's Player 3.
Poetry.
Good.
The
Player 3, where do we start?
short form for 200.
Bench presses build up the pecs, short for these.
What are pectorals?
Player 1? Yeah, good.
Let's go short form for 400.
Player 1. The Random House Historical Dictionary of American Slang has an 1896 citation of diff, D-I-F-F, as short for this.
What is difference?
Let's hear it, Player 1. That's right. Way to go.
Short form for 600.
Player 1. Rad, meaning excellent, was truncated from this.
What is radical?
Let's hear it, Player 1. You are correct. Player 1. A Cosmo girl doesn't just look good, she can have a convo, short for this. Yes, Player 1?
What is conversation?
Correct.
Let's go the short form for 1,000.
You get one of the perks of my job is knowing that perk, meaning a benefit, is short for this. Player 1?
What is perquisite?
Good for you.
Yeah! Woo!
We return to you,
Let me
Player
test it
1.
for 200.
Jesus grew up in this town in the southern part of Galilee.
What is Bethlehem?
Okay, Player 1?
Or Nazareth? Nazareth?
Yes.
Let me test it for 400.
Player 1. In Luke, this angel told Zacharias that his wife Elizabeth would bear a son, and thou shalt call him John.
Who is Gabriel?
Okay, Player 1? Yes.
The big hook for 600.
Player 1. The book of John records him as saying, "Except I shall see in his hands the print of the nails, I will not believe."
Who is Thomas?
Let's hear it, Player 1. That is correct.
The big hook for 400.
Player 1. Jesus was referring to this fisherman when he said, "Upon this rock I will build my church."
Who is Jonah?
Yes, Player 1?
No? It's fisherman. It's either Peter or Andrew. It's not Philip. It's either Peter or Andrew. I will say who is Andrew.
Nope. Sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Let's hear it, Player 2.
Peter?
You got it.
Peter.
Player 2, you start us off. On the road to Damascus, this future epistle writer was asked by Jesus, "Why persecutest thou me?"
Was it Paul?
Yes, Player 1?
Was Paul?
Good.
The solar system for 200.
Player 1? In December of 2006, NASA announced that water may have flowed on this planet's surface within the past decade.
What is Mars?
Let's hear it, Player 1. Right you are.
Solar system for 400.
You get in 1980, Hermes, one of these objects, came within 300,000 miles of the Earth.
What is a
Player 1?
an asteroid or a meteor?
Sorry. Anyone else? Here's the response we were looking for. An asteroid.
Yeah, I should have gone with that. Oh well.
You again. On October 10th, 1846, 17 days after the discovery of this planet, its largest moon, Triton, was discovered.
It's either Saturn or Neptune.
It's Player 1.
I will say what is Neptune.
Good for you.
Solar system 800.
We return to these solar discharges consisting of light, heat, and cosmic rays may last up to an hour.
What are solar flares?
Let's hear it, Player 1. Yes.
1,000.
You get to pick in July of 2005, scientists announced the discovery of Eris, a dwarf planet larger than Pluto, in this belt.
What is the asteroid belt?
Okay, Player 1. Sorry. That's wrong.
Dang it.
Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? We're talking about the Kuiper Belt.
Oh well, where's that for 200?
Player 1. Upon its 1914 completion, this shortened a ship's voyage between New York City and San Francisco by about 8,000 miles. It's Player 1.
What is the Erie Canal?
No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? The correct response is the Panama Canal.
Oh yeah, 400.
Player 1. Looking like it's going to get the boot and covering nearly 10,000 square miles, it's the largest island in the Mediterranean.
What is Sicily?
Okay, player one.
Yeah.
Player one. Portland, Salem, and Eugene are the largest cities in this state.
What is Oregon?
Okay, player one. That's right. Way to go.
800.
Please. It's the Daily Double. You are currently answer. Wellington is its capital.
What is New Zealand?
Congratulations, you're still in first, player one. Here's the $1,000 clue for you. Take me to your lemur. This island country lies about 240 miles east of the African mainland.
What is Madagascar?
Yes, player one? Right.
Double Jeopardy.
The selection will be yours, player two, when we return from this break. Let's see what happens in Double Jeopardy with these categories awaiting the players. Terme d'art. Spanning the globe. Synonyms. Assassin and victim. It's a gas. And quotable movies. Okay, let's get back into this. Player two, you make the next selection as we... Haiphong, Cam Ranh, and Dong Hoi are all important cities in this country.
Haiphong, Cameroon, and Dong Hoi.
It's player one.
What is Vietnam?
You are correct. At an altitude of 12,000 feet, this Bolivian city is the highest national capital.
What is La Paz?
Okay, player one. You got it. Made from fermented cabbage, radishes, red peppers, and spices, kimchi is the national dish of this land.
Sounds like it's in Hindi.
It's player one.
No, it's not. What is, oh, I hope I'm right. What is Korea?
Please. And I'll hand it off to Sarah.
This St. Petersburg Palace is named for the first Russian empress with this name. The second one was said to be great.
What is Catherine?
It's player one. You again. This most populous African country's main ethnic groups are the Hausa, Fulani, Igbo, and Yoruba.
What is Nigeria?
Player one. Hey, you're right. We return to you. Marcus Junius Brutus et al., 44 BC.
Who is Julius Caesar?
It's player one. That's right. Way to go.
Yeah. Woo.
Please. James Earl Ray, 1968.
Who is Martin Luther King Jr.?
It's player one. That's correct.
Yeah. Woo.
Player one, Nathuram Godse, 1948.
Who is Gandhi?
Let's hear it, player one.
Indira Gandhi?
No. Anyone else?
What is a Gandhi?
Here's what we were looking for. Mohandas Gandhi.
Oh, okay. Assassin a victim for 1600, please.
Player one, Leon Czolgosz, 1901. Let's hear it, player one.
Who is William no, not Franz Ferdinand. It's either William McKinley or Nicholas II. I'm gonna go with who is Nicholas II.
No, sorry. Anyone else?
Tough.
Let's hear it, player three.
William McKinley.
Good. Player three, where do we start?
Daily Double.
Answer, the first of the Daily Doubles. You're in second place, so what is your wager going to be? How much are you going to wager? Here is your Daily Double clue. Yigal Amir, 1995.
Anwar Sadat.
No. Here's the response we were looking for. Yitzhak Rabin,
Yitzhak Rabin.
You get to pick again, player 3. DuPont owns the trademark to this refrigerant gas introduced in the 1930s to replace hazardous substances.
What is mercury?
Let's hear it, player 1.
No, what's freon?
Correct.
Let's go with the gas for 800.
Where do we begin? It immediately precedes lithium on the periodic table. Player 1.
What is what is oxygen?
No. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's what we wanted. Helium.
Oh, helium. All right.
Player 1. Pick again. The name of this gas comes from the Greek for strange. Yes, player 1?
What is xenon?
Good.
It's a gas for 1600.
You get to pick. To make a simple fire extinguisher, put vinegar in baking soda, producing this gas that will put out a flame. Yes, player 1?
What is carbon dioxide?
Good.
It's a gas for 2000.
Player 1. Around 1910, for chemical company BASF, Carl Bosch learned to make quantities of this gas from nitrogen and hydrogen. Player 1?
What is nitrogen, hydrogen? What is methane?
No. Sorry.
Oh, it's Tory Lawrence.
Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Okay, player 2.
Ammonia.
That's correct. Player 2, where do we start? My father assured him that either his signature or his brains would be on the contract. Yes, player 1?
What is The Godfather?
Yes.
Put it in for 800, please.
Player 1. There was a Stonehenge monument on the stage that was in danger of being crushed by a dwarf. Yes, player 1?
What is Spinal Tap?
Right you are.
Put it in 1200.
Player 1. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries. Okay, player 1?
What is Monty Python and the Holy Grail?
Yeah!
Put it in for 1600.
You again, player 1.
Daily double.
Answer. The other daily double. And you're in the lead now. The clue. You can't handle the truth.
What is A Few Good Men?
That puts you even further ahead. You get Spartans, enjoy your breakfast, for tonight we dine in hell. Player 1?
What is Spartacus? No. What is 300? 300.
Correct. We return to you. As a noun, it's a synonym for flower. As a verb, it's to blossom or come into one's own. It's player 1.
What is bloom?
Right. Select again. Synonyms for crowd include throng, flock, and this word that can also mean an infatuation. Player 1?
What is shine? Or crush?
Hey, you're right.
Yeah.
Player 1. In court, you won't hear a lawyer say remonstrance, but this synonym.
What is objection?
Let's hear it, player 1. That is correct.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 1. Back in the 19th century, ladies didn't faint, but did this 5-letter synonym. Player 1?
What is abai or swoon?
Yes. Player 1. This synonym for to seclude is also a word for part of a monastery or convent. Let's hear it, player 1.
What is sequester?
That's not it. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Player 3?
Cloister?
That's correct.
Yeah. That just leaves the last category.
Player 3, you're in command of the board as we continue, right? Jugendstil is the German equivalent for this French term for the decorative style of the 1890s. It's player 1.
What is Art Nouveau?
You got it. Player 1. The name of this odd movement, French for hobby horse, was appropriately chosen at random from a dictionary. Player 1?
What is Dada?
That's right. Way to go.
12.
Player 1. French term for the technique of placing paper over a relief surface and rubbing with crayon or pencil. Player 1?
What is frottage?
Right you are. We return. French for deceive the eye. This technique tricks you into thinking a painted object is real and not two-dimensional. It's player 1.
What is repoussoir?
Any other takers? Let's hear it, player 2.
Trompe l'oeil.
Yes. And the last clue for $2,000. Dubuffet coined this term from the French for to bring together for works made of bits of things. Player 1?
What is assemblage?
You got it.
Yeah! Woo!
You all move on to Final Jeopardy, which will continue after these messages. We're back. The category for Final Jeopardy today is authors. Please enter your wager. Let's take a look at that Final Jeopardy clue right now. Chapters in a 1914 novel by this author include Jungle Battles, His Own Kind, and The Call of the Primitive. What did you put as your response?
Edgar Rice Burroughs.
And this correct response will add how much to your score? What did you put as your response? With that correct response, you will gain. What did you put as your response?
I also said it was Edgar Rice Burroughs.
And that correct response will add.
$100,000. I'm going to see you off for that next thing.
You've come out ahead as our champion, player 1. So long.